Hey, how you doing? So in this video, I'm going to talk about something really awesome, how to build a high-ticket coaching business. Now, this is a topic that gets spun around quite a bit in the coaching and consulting space, and so I'm going to give you my spin on this and how we've been able to build a successful high-ticket coaching and consulting business in two industries, in real estate and in business coaching, and I'm going to give you all the tips and tricks and stuff that we've been using to make this happen. Now, what we're going to talk about in this video is four very important things. First of all, I'm going to cover who to serve. Who are the clients out there that are going to be willing to pay the amount of money that you want to charge for your high-ticket coaching program? Next, we're going to talk about what to deliver. What is that deliverable that you have to provide to make people happy that's worth that high-ticket price? Third, we're going to talk about how to find clients. This is a topic that confuses a lot of people, and obviously getting clients is one of the most important parts of building a quality high-ticket coaching business. And then finally, I'm going to reveal to you one of the coolest things that's working right now. It's the same funnel that we've been using that's got us over $4.2 million. Now, stick with me. We've got a lot of stuff to cover, and we're going to go through this in quite a bit of detail, and I'm going to give you everything that I know. Now, I want to make it clear that I understand that out there's a lot of noise, a lot of nonsense, a lot of misinformation, and it really makes me sad that there's so much confusion out there. And I see the ads and all the nonsense and the rubbish that people are saying, try and hook people in. People that have no experience in this game are trying to teach and educate people and leading them down a path and straying them into spending money and wasting their time. Now, it's my mission to help as many coaches and consultants as I possibly can. I'm really passionate about what I do, and we want to really see more people having success in this game, right? I want to help 10,000 coaches, consultants, and experts get to $100,000 a month in revenue at a 60% profit margin. That's my aim. And most important, one of the biggest things that I want to help people with is autonomy. Autonomy is a very powerful context to all of this, because it doesn't matter how many people we help. If they're getting stuck in a business that's driving them to the ground and they're not able to control that business, that's what we're aiming to get. And that's our passion. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to make this happen. I'll work hard, I'll work day and night, I will push myself right to the core to get as many people as I can over the line. I've spent over the last 10 years more than $263K on training, coaching, and consulting to learn more, to educate myself, and to understand the high-ticket game in its totality, to see what's working, what's not working. And I can tell you a very big secret. After spending all that money on training and education over the many years, the one thing that stands out to me is that all the content is the same. There is no new stuff out there. It is all the same information. So no matter what program you buy into, no matter what new fandangle thing you get to see out there that people are trying to punt and promote, it's all the same information, just packaged in a different way. So why do people still pay all that money on high-ticket programs and coaching? Well, it's this. There's three things that stand out that I've noticed out of all of these coaching programs and courses and training that I've done. First of all, what stands out for me is the people, right? The people involved. So understand that when you're setting up your programs, this is what I think stands out, right? It's the people, it's the systems. So what sets one part from the other is how they've created the systems. It's the unique formulas, the methods, the frameworks, and the infrastructure that they've created that makes it different. Even though it's the same training, they've created a version of it that makes sense. And finally, a big core ingredient is simplicity. So these are the core ingredients that I see that really stand out, that make high-ticket coaching programs valuable. All right, so I'm going to go through all of this training in a second, but before I get stuck in, please go ahead and subscribe to this channel if you haven't really done so, and we would love to give you as much free information as we possibly can as you become part of our community. One of the things I have done over my career is I have had, just like you, had a dream to have a business that makes money. Now, I started at the same place where most people start, and that's at zero, and obviously wanting to become the hero of my story. And when I first started, I was really in a bad place, and this was my first journey into coaching and consulting. Now, before that, when I was 24 years old, I had made my first $1 million, right? At 24 years old, I'd made my first $1 million. So I was doing really well. I was in the retail game, and I'd done really, really well. And everything was going fantastic to my 26, 27, 28. By the time I got to 30 years old, I'd lost everything. At 30 years old, it all came tumbling down, and everything that I'd built up, all the success that I had, just literally vanished. It was during the GFC, and so yeah, it just went to poo. And at 30 years old, everything for me started all over again. So at 30 years old, I had to go and get a job and start working, right? So that was my first build-up. And so I went into construction and I started a career in construction. And construction was an easy fit because at that point I didn't have any education. I wasn't skilled at a lot of stuff, and I had to work out what I was going to do. And in construction, fortunately, one of the things I noticed very straight away is that if you work hard, if you're committed, if you build up some skills, you can easily run up the ranks pretty quickly. And there's companies out there that would take you on in a heartbeat if you're prepared to work a little bit harder than the next person. And so that allowed me to skill up and scale up pretty quickly in the industry. And I got to a construction manager in a very short period of time, which was awesome. And so I started getting a really, really good salary. Now, anybody that works in a job knows that a job, especially when you've made money before, working in a job is not a very attractive and appealing thing. And even though I was really good at it and making really good money, I wanted to get out. I wanted to make my own money. And I needed to figure out how I was going to do that. And working in construction was a really stressful, hard, intense job, especially when you're managing. And I was specializing in high-rise buildings. And so there's constant pressure. You had to keep the whole engine moving very efficiently. I learned some very important skills, business skills, especially in this period, but it left me hanging dry because it wasn't something that was fulfilling to me. And I felt like I could provide more value to this world doing something else. And one of those things was to become a coach and to help people, to create transformation. But I needed to work out what that meant even. At the time, I didn't know exactly what that meant. So I eventually quit my job, right? I quit, and to cut a long story short, I burned my bridges, so I couldn't go back because that high-paying job, I called the golden handcuffs, and I kept circling around and going back into that job. But when I left, I had quite a bit of savings put aside, and I wanted to work towards building a business. Now, it wasn't all rosy. It was really tough gig to figure this stuff out because I had no skills. I did not understand what this even meant. I knew that there was a journey or a road to making success in this, but I had no idea what that was all about. And so I set myself a goal, following one of my mentors who said to me, get yourself a goal, work towards that goal, and do everything you can to make that thing happen. So my first goal was to have $2,500 per week. That was my first goal. What that meant was, well, that's $10,000 per month. And I set that goal for myself because I thought that was going to be my freedom and give me autonomy and be the game-changing number that I can work for. Even though it was a good number, at $2,500 a week, you can do good stuff. You can live, you've got family to feed, you've got kids that go to school, you've got bills, all that kind of stuff. So you can live pretty good. But what I found is something happened when I got to this point. And so I left my job. I started working really hard, trying to figure it out. I bought a whole lot of courses and training and education to understand what high ticket was all about so that I could start building my own business. And I got to this mark. This was the 2.5K a week that I got to, right? After a lot of working hard, committing, building a package and a program. My first program that I sold was 5K coaching program. That was the first one we started selling. And we were doing pretty well. We were selling 2, sometimes maybe if we were lucky 3 in a month of those, and it was tying us over. Our costs were pretty low because we were doing a lot of outreach at the time, and it was great. We got to this number and I thought, whoa, that was a good sign. But what happened is that at this point, you don't have any control. There's no control here. But what I mean by that is there's no autonomy. You have to work at the business. You have to keep making sure that you got it, that income keeps coming in. And you're consistently working at the business. You're constantly trying to improve it. And even going to the next level up, you find it really hard because you're trying to do everything yourself because you can't afford staff. Because at some point, you need to be able to step away from doing the business and have somebody else doing the work for you that you can then be more creative. You can run the business, right? And so that journey rapidly changed because the one thing I wanted out of my high-ticket coaching business was I wanted autonomy. I wanted to be able to have a business that I could manage rather than it managing me. That was a hard step to take because in reality, you wanted to really run a fully fledged high ticket coaching business, you have to think about autonomy. because if you don't, it will drive you nuts. Fortunately, I had the skills that I'd learned when I was in construction to understand systems, processes, and business management. I was running big teams at the time when I was at the peak of my game, 40, 50 people at a time in my teams, running them, keeping everything going efficiently, understanding systems and processes, and keeping workflow happening. So that was a really key fundamental part that helped me get to that next stage. And so what the next goal became was autonomy. And that autonomy happens at around about 100K per month. If you're earning that much money, you got more autonomy and you can make good profit. But what does that look like? What does that look like, and how do you get to that point? For me, it was breaking everything down again and then going through this process and understanding what it would take to get to that point. Now, a high-ticket coaching program consists of 3 very important core ingredients, right? And I learned this the hard way. It took me years and years and years to figure this out as I was going through my journey. But once I got this, it made the whole process so much easier because now I get it and I can see where the problems are to help to drive a good quality, efficient, and autonomous business. So number 1 is equity. What is equity? Equity is creating something so good they can't resist. That means the product, the program, the service, the package, that thing that you're selling needs to be of super high quality and good value, or assumed quality and value. Equity is that component of it costs you so much to create something, but you have a perceived value of that thing that is higher than what it costs you. So if that's your cost and you're able to sell something at that price, this is your equity, right? Your profit. I like the term equity because we've been in real estate for quite a few years, and in real estate, equity makes total sense, right? You renovate a property, you make it look really nice, and you can sell it for more than what you bought it for. This journey to equity for me was quite an interesting one because at the beginning, I was doing what everyone else was doing and just selling this idea of helping people make money, or in real estate, it was just like investing in real estate. But when you break it down, you have to have the core components. But this allowed me to start looking at things a different way. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do this in the next few pages. So equity is fundamental. You can't have a successful coaching or consulting business without good equity in it. You need a high perceived value. You need to work on that high perceived value. That comes in all kinds of flavors, and I'll talk about that in a second. So the next thing that you have to have in a business is, number 2 out of all of these, is trust. There is no way you can grow a successful business in this day and age without fundamentally having a way to create trust in the eyes of your clients. Because there's such a big bullshit factor out there right now where people do not trust what's out there. There's just so much noise and confusion, and people have wasted so much money. And so if you can't develop a way to create the trust, you're going to run into trouble. I'm going to show you how this is created and how we do this in a minute. So when it comes to trust, you need to become so recognizable they just can't ignore you. When you're showing up consistently and you look like you're just running the internet or you're popular, that essentially allows for you to have maximum trust. Now, there's multiple ways to go about this. Obviously, credibility plays a role in this, testimonials, all that kind of stuff. However, we sell stuff without anyone ever seeing one testimonial, and we sell them at high ticket prices. We sell programs at $50,000 where we're talking to people, they see us, we're available, and we build trust just through rapport, where they don't need any testimonials. And so it's possible to sell high ticket without testimonials if you have this other trust factors working for you. Recognition, status. It's very, very powerful. When you have status, when you're recognized, people will want to do business with you intrinsically. They trust you because they see you everywhere and you're popping up everywhere. And when you understand this mechanic, it makes you or allows you to get to a point where you can sell high ticket programs a lot easier. So trust is fundamental. And you've got to become so recognizable they can't ignore you. If you want to have success, right, you want to get to that 100K a month, you need to have this. And this component is called control. And this means running a business that doesn't run you. You've got to have autonomy. And this comes through processes and systems and having clarity. When you have these things working for you, knowing your numbers, having a team around you, all that stuff that you can easily build if you do it the right way, control means this. It's about making or creating a business that is so simple, you just become unstoppable. Because if you complicate and you make things too onerous and you're chasing too many shiny objects, guess what? You're losing control. If you've got too many niches or too many client types or too many of this and that going on in your business and you're not controlling your numbers, guess what? You're losing control. If you build a business that is simple and easy to manage and run, and you stick to the formula of simplicity, then it becomes a much more enjoyable journey. And all this comes from just knowing the skills, improving your skills. And if you get good skills in all of this, this becomes a really amazing business to run. High-ticket coaching and consulting is a fantastic business. You get to help people make an impact, and you can do so many cool things. It's now never been more easier to build a high-ticket coaching program because there is so much craziness out there. There's more people than ever that need help to get from one place to the next. And if you've got the capacity, if you've got the skill set, if you've got something to offer of value, people are going to want to do business with you. Let's start at step number 1, right? Who need to serve? Who are the people that you need to serve in this whole crazy world of high-ticket coaching? Obviously, when you're offering or you're providing a higher quality, higher cost service or program, package, whatever you want to call it, you need to have the people that have got the money to want to work with you. If you're aiming at the wrong types of people, ultimately you're only going to get yourself wasting time, costing you money, and you're never going to have the fulfillment and have the business that you're trying to set up. Knowing who you serve is important, right? You need to know your avatar. Your avatar is super important. And so many people get this wrong because this is the starting point to running a successful high-ticket coaching business by far. Who's your avatar? And there's some very important criteria here that you need to be mindful of, right? It's like, for instance, gender. Who are you serving? Are you serving couples? Are you serving men, women? What does it look like? What does that demographic look like? Because sometimes you don't appeal to everybody. And you can't appeal to everybody because that just doesn't make sense. So you're going to have a certain sector. It could be couples, it could be singles, it could be males, it could be females. Whatever it is, and you've got a specific outcome for those people, then you dive in. Gender is super important. Location. Right? Location plays a really big role. You know, you do a coaching program and you're in, say, New Zealand or Australia or the UK or United States, Canada. All of those have different ways of speaking, and also sometimes regulation plays an impact, and sometimes it's just time zones, right? If you're running programs in the morning or in the afternoon and it doesn't line up with your time zones, it's going to affect your business. So you need to know your location. It's very important. Another big one is age. Age is going to play a big role in how you go about your business. Just these basics, so many people get them wrong and they don't get very specific about these. And finally, you need to know your interests, right? What are the interests of your avatar? Where do they hang out? How do they hang out? What are they doing? How do they speak online? What are the things that are driving them that gets them to you so you can serve them? And we're going to go through this when I talk about how to find the clients. But these are the very important criteria as a starting point to understanding who to serve, who to sell to. Get this clear, get very specific on this so that you don't have to worry about how you're going to sell your products, right? There's a specific type of person that you can only sell to. When you know that specific type of person, it makes life so much easier. Yet so many people are getting it wrong by doing generic type marketing, generic type messaging, and they wonder why they're struggling. I see it all the time. It's not useful, it's not helpful, and it's not going to get you to that place you want to go. Here's the thing, right? We've got a ladder that we're working with, and the ladder looks something like this. First of all, we're typically working with the life and mind. So let me take a step back. There are 4 big categories of coaching and consulting that I feel the ones where you can make the most money in. And there's profit to be made and there's demand, where there's issues and problems and things that you can find solutions to. And these 4 categories are life and mind, right? Life and mind, wellness, performance, and wealth. These are the 4 big categories, and they go in an upwards ladder scale. Now, life and mind is your mindset, lifestyle, business, family, all the basic kind of mindset type things that go on, right? Your mums and dads wanting to help their kids, dealing with teenagers, people that want to get a better mindset, have abundance mindset, that type of stuff, right? It's all in this category here. Wellness is all that stuff like losing weight, getting stronger, being fitter, feeling healthier, longevity, that type of stuff, which is a big industry as well. The next is performance. Performance is huge, right? Executive, coaching coaches, helping people get better and performing better, sports, professional sports. So this category is obviously a little bit more valuable, and it's the next layer up. And wealth is right at the top of the list. And wealth is all that stuff like business, making money, investing, real estate, all that fits into that category. So all of these together, there's an abundance of profit and money and opportunity to be had, and these will never run dry because there's always a cycle of people going through these that need help, that want to get from one place to the next. And so when you're thinking about creating your high-ticket coaching program, it's just understanding that this sector at the bottom is the biggest amount of people. The next layer up is a little bit less, the next layer up is a little bit less, and the next layer up is even less, right? Because what happens is that as you go up the ladder, there's less of these people, but the cost to deliver is higher, and the outcome, the cost that you can charge is also higher. When you're looking at these, there's an upper level of cap, typically. Now, this is just rule of thumb. It does vary. Some coaches are better than others, but I'm going to give a general indication on the upper level when you're charging for your program. So at this level here, the upper level is around about the $3,500, $3,500 for a package that you can typically charge. When you get into wellness, some are a little bit less than others. Now, in these costings that I'm putting, I'm basically talking just about the delivery of coaching and consulting. I'm not talking about other back-end type products like if you're doing equipment or if you're doing, other stuff that can drive that value up even higher. This is just pure coaching or consulting. So in this level here, the upper limit is around about $5,000, right? When you get to performance is typically the upper level, the high level is around about the $20K, especially when you get into like sales training or executive training, that type of stuff. And when you get into the wealth sector, and this is where I operate, you can have packages anywhere as much as $100K. I've just sold a package last week for $30,000. Easier to sell in the wealth space at the higher ticket prices, and that's typically where we are. So we sell in our two businesses packages from $15,000 all the way up to $50,000. So we like to operate in this space. Harder to run in, but there's a lot more money to be made. These are all very good spaces to operate in. You can make money in any of them. If you've got skills for any one of these areas, you can capitalize on them and make a ton of money. There is no limit. So when you're creating a high-ticket coaching program, understand the high-ticket limits for the different areas that you're going into. So when you're dealing with people, we all understand that we're taking them on that journey, right? We're going from zero to hero, right? We're going on that hero to zero journey. So where people are frustrated, they're struggling, there's things going on in their lives, they're trying to get to another point where they have goals, right? They have a vision, they have a dream, they have desires. So your job as the coach, consultant, expert is to understand these components, right? They have objections, pain, struggles, and a whole bevy of other things and obstacles. These are all the things that they're dealing with. The reason why they're in this position where they are now, at the zero position. And they want to get to their goals, right? Whatever that goal is, where they can be the hero of their life. And it's important for us to understand as business owners or as coaches, these in detail of our clients or our potential clients. If you understand these when you're dealing or working with the people that you want to work with, and you have clarity on this, it really helps you in the whole process of setting up your marketing campaigns, the messaging, the way you talk to people. That whole infrastructure is based around this. And the most important thing I think you also need to know is you need to know what drives people, right? Drivers, I bet you most people don't know what their clients' drivers are. What is the thing that motivates them the most? Is it status? Is it family? Is it love? Is it lust? What are the things that are ultimately driving them to make this move? When you understand this, it's very, very powerful. What are their desires? Desires are different to drivers. Drivers are more of the urgency stuff. Desires are the dreams that they want to turn into reality. And then ultimately there's urgency. If you want to sell high-ticket coaching products, if you really get an understanding of these components together, it's going to make you unstoppable. It's going to help you get to a point where you know your people so well that no one can compete with you. Competition becomes irrelevant. What are your urgencies? Do you ever understand or think about the urgencies of your client? What will happen if they don't do this thing with you? Are they going to, lose everything? Are they going to struggle? Are they going to have their family looking at them a bad way or something like that? What is the thing that'll go wrong if they don't do the thing that to work with you right now? Having this clarity on this journey and the steps to making this happen is super important. Step 2, what are you going to deliver? What is the thing that you can deliver, that you can create, that's of high value, that's worth a lot of money? 20,000, 50,000. Have you ever created a $50,000 package? I can tell you that if you first build a $5,000 package, right, getting from there to there is a lot easier than creating the first starting point. So it's very important to have your fundamentals in place so that going to the next level becomes super easy. Once I understood the $5,000 package model, going to $25,000 and $50,000 just became super easy, because all we did was we're adding more to that piece and creating more perceived value. It becomes really powerful. So what do you need to do to create this type of value where you can sell high ticket packages? Sky is the limit if you know how to talk to and how to market and how to speak to your clients, which I talked about in the first part. You need to know your avatar. You need to know your clients in such deep detail that it becomes easy to talk to them. You know what they're dealing with. You know what they're struggling with. Now, before we go into what to deliver, let's talk about passion versus skills, right? This is a big topic that I think so many people don't spend enough time thinking about. There's this whole driver of an industry out there telling you to follow your passion. Passion will take you to the mountains. Passion is everything. Get your passion right, find something you love, and everything becomes easy. Well, I say bullshit. Passion doesn't do anything for you except drive you down a path of hoping, praying, and wishing. I say that is the wrong context to try to build a high-ticket coaching program. What I believe you need to do is work on the skills you need to be able to deliver to an avatar that you can connect with that wants to pay for your skills. Because guess what? People do not pay for passion. They do not. People pay for skills and systems. That's what they pay good money for. In the high-ticket coaching, consulting space, training, education is becoming so cheap, but skills and systems are what people will pay for. So if you've got a high-valued skill that you can talk about or you can help people with, you can show them, that's where the money is. If you have a system that delivers results, that's what people pay money for, because systems make life easier and skills are unique in that they haven't developed them, so they need to get skills from you. So when it comes to high-ticket coaching, and if you want to deliver these top-end products, even if it's just to deliver a $5,000 product, you need to work on skills. Passion won't get you anywhere. Find something that you can see a gap in where you can use your skills, something that you've already learned, to take it to that next level. That's what building a successful business is all about. Now, in order to take this and make this into money, you need to do something really unique, right? And in all of this, I would like you to think about this, right? You are a craftsman. You're going to create something of unique value. You're going to create something that no one else can create. You need to have the skills and deliver or learn the skills, hire the skills, or find the skills so that you can deliver something that no one else can. And the craftsman mindset means that no one can do what you can do. You've developed this unique set of skills that when people see you doing your work, they go, wow, that's amazing. I can't do that. I want to pay money for you to help me do that thing. So always think about the craftsman's mindset. Now, ultimately, the highest priced items that you can sell right now is this, right? This is what people are paying money for. They're paying top dollar. As a matter of fact, they'll pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for these things. Time, right? People want more time. They want efficiency. They want things to go quicker. Number 2, happiness. This is one of the biggest commodities, right? It's like gold or diamonds. How little happiness there is in the world, and this is a big craving that so many people have. Just to be happy for a day, for a week, for a month, for a year, for a lifetime, whatever that is. Happiness is a very, very valuable commodity. Wealth. You can help people become more wealthy, make more money, get to a place where they can retire early. This is super valuable. Big commodity to sell. As a high-ticket coach or consultant, that's another one of your big packages, right? And a huge one in today's society that is, I think, one of a very big valuable asset to have and it kind of combines all of them, is autonomy, right? Having freedom, having control. Autonomy is a very valuable asset. If you can help people get to that place as a craftsman, learn how to get people this, and you will never be without anything in your life again. This is what people want to pay money for. So you're not selling, advertising skills, or you're not selling mindset skills. You're selling, ultimately, at the end of the day, helping people accomplish these things. If you get your head around that, it makes life a lot easier. Hope this all makes sense. Let's keep moving forward. Now, you need to take all of that stuff, and you can't tell people I'm selling you time, right? You're going to sell them something that looks like it's going to get them time. So what does that look like? In the high-ticket space, you need to create what I call a formula. Formula is a system, process, a method, a blueprint, whatever you want to call it, to get people results. Now, your formula is that magic potion, that love potion, whatever that is, that's going to help people get to that place, right? To go from hero to zero. This is the potion that's going to get them to the hero. And you're going to deliver them that potion, something that no one else can create, something that's unique, something that has special stuff, right? And inside of this, to create a special formula, you need a label, right? A label is what you're selling, what that looks like. Everyone gets attracted to the label, first of all. Then you have packaging. How you package your formula is super important. Then you need ingredients, right? The ingredients, what goes inside this is of as much value, as importance, right? These are the core ingredients to creating a coaching program that will do the thing that helps people go from zero to hero. If you can do this properly, you can show people the value of this and how you can create an amazing way for them to get to that next stage. Boom. This package helps you do something more efficiently. This potion or this formula will help you find happiness. How? Because we've got the packaging, but the ingredients, the secret sauce to this. And then ultimately, the efficacy. That's as important as everything else. So will this thing deliver on what it says? Is it risky? Is there going to be any problems? What's the dosage? How much of this am I going to take? How quick am I going to get results, right? So these all working together create a high ticket, platinum ticket, diamond ticket programs, right? And each of these will have different values. A high ticket, I say 5,000, platinum ticket to 25,000, diamond ticket, 50,000 plus. And that's how you create a super amazing value so that people can see that you can provide something that no one else can. You give your formula a name, you give it a unique packaging, you give it some unique ingredients, branded ingredients, and you provide efficacy, which means you prove that this thing works. And it's that simple. When you get that formula right, everything becomes easier for you to build a high-ticket coaching program. Number 3, we're going to talk about how to find clients. Right? This is one of the most confusing things that people struggle with, is getting the right clients and enough of the right clients consistently into your funnel in front of you. And so many people struggle with this, and yet it's never been easier to get clients because there is, number 1, lots of problems out there that need solving, and number 2, the internet, the algorithms, all that stuff right now has created such good opportunity that if you're not getting clients, then you're not following a system. You're not following a process. And so if you're looking to find clients, I mean, really, there is the opportunities are limitless, right? We got so many avenues to find clients. Now, I specialize in only YouTube, Facebook, and Google. That's it. There's nothing else that I need to look at that has for clients, because those 3 platforms are the gangbusters of the whole internet. More than 200 billion views a month, searches a month, or visits a month. That's insane, right? 200 billion between Facebook, YouTube, and the Googster, right? 200 billion. There's no reason why you can't find clients consistently amongst those. Yet people seem to do it wrong the whole time. But here's the thing, and this is why people are getting it wrong. It's this simple. You need to learn this and understand this, because if you don't have this, you'll never have clients. It's this: trust. You need to be able to build trust. You need your clients to trust you. If you don't break the trust barrier, you're always going to be struggling. And in order to understand breaking the trust barrier, you need to become friends with video. Video is your friend. It's the best way to build trust. If you haven't quite got the hang of it or started working in front of a camera, doing video, it becomes a really hard game. It really does, especially if you want to sell high-ticket stuff. You need to break the barrier. And that means getting in front of people on a video, on Zoom calls, and talking to people and telling them, teaching them, showing them, helping them. Because if you're not doing that, you're missing out on a huge opportunity. There is so much opportunity and space out there, but you've got to make video your friend. If video is not your friend, you're going to make it 10 times harder to do it. It's possible to do it without video. Of course, there's people making money without using video. Definitely. But I can tell you and I can assure you, after doing this for many years now, once I broke the barrier of video, the whole thing became so much easier. People could see, they could trust. The trust was easier to build, and their rapport was easier to build because they could just see you more over and over and over and over again. That creates that whole journey to building desire so that they want to work with you. And saying that, this is how the journey will work. For most people, right, you start with getting yourself out there, and your client is going to go from not knowing you, right, where they are now, to making a purchase. And in that journey, there's certain triggers that have to go off before they'll even do business with you. And without these triggers, you will struggle to sell high-ticket stuff. Simple. You have to have these triggers. First of all, you need curiosity, right? Curiosity is the number one starting point for any journey. When they see something, there's millions of ads that go out there right now. Millions of ads. And if you can't create curiosity and get people to take notice, that's the starting point. The next level is you need to have interest, right? So they go from curiosity, like, oh, what's this thing I see in front of me? This seems interesting. I'm curious. I'm going to take a dive. I'll click the button, download the PDF or watch the video, do the webinar, whatever that looks like. Then the next layer up is like, oh, this is interesting. I want to know more. I want to find out more. What's going on here? Then they do a whole lot of research, and then you're going to have to get to a point where you're building up trust, right? Trust is a huge, big next barrier. And it is probably one of the most important barriers because it's easy to get people into this part, curious and interested, but breaking this barrier is a very, very, very tough, and you need to do it the right way. And one of the best ways to do that is to be showing up everywhere on video. If you show up everywhere on video, they're going to trust you more. It's like if Tom Cruise came up to me right now and took off his belt or his shoe even and said, I want to show you this magic shoe. This shoe will make you $1 million, right? Chances are it won't make me $1 million, but I can probably bet you I'll buy that shoe from Tom Cruise if it was reasonable price because he has this trust factor because he's been around for so long, right? I know it's a silly analogy, but you get the point. If somebody is famous, you just tend to trust them more. So getting out there and making yourself known is super important, especially in the high-ticket game. Then the next part of the journey is you have to break the barrier of desire. The barrier of desire is much easier to break when you have trust. If you don't have trust, you won't break the desire. It's near impossible. And desire is the thing that they have to want to work with you. When they desire the thing and they know they can trust you to get them there, then this becomes super easy because you've got through these barriers. And the best way to do that is video. It's always going to be video, and video is not going away anytime soon. AIs, even if they had deep fake AIs going on, still people want to do business with people they trust, know and like, and this is how it happens. And then ultimately, to have a business that's successful, you have to be getting to people to that place of confidence. Confidence is the ultimate goal, right? Confidence in their marriage, confidence in their lives, confidence in their performance, confidence in their business, confidence in whatever it is that they need to get to. And when you give people that confidence at the end of your journey, they go and become advocates. When you get to them to the point of confidence, right? This is super important because now they're going to become advocates. Advocates telling everybody about you, how amazing you are. And when you've got all that happening for you, business becomes so much easier. And it happens when you start the journey, and video is the starting point of the journey. Unfortunately, it's just the way of the nature of the beast. If you're selling high-ticket products, I don't think there's anybody in their right minds that would do business with somebody they haven't met, haven't had a chat with, and hasn't proven that they're the person to work with. Right? Now, if you bought something and you haven't faced somebody and talked to somebody about this and seen the credibility, then I don't know. I would never do that. I personally wouldn't do that. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? So you need video, you need to be showing up, and you need to create that confidence ultimately. And something that we've been working on for a very long time is this. I'm going to talk about step number 4, the $1 million funnel that's working right now. And this is what we're doing. And it's not that complicated, really. It's just a matter of following a process, right? When you put it together and you make it happen, I'm going to show you the simplest version of this, but there's a bit more to it, but you don't need any more than this. First of all, we have something that we call, obviously on social media, it starts on social media, right? And we have something we call butterfly posts. Butterfly posts are super important. These are the bread and butter of what I was talking to you about before. To get out there and to be recognized as the go-to person, you need these butterfly posts. And these are boosted posts. We do this in a very specific way, and we have a very specific script for this that works really well. Then you have, in between here, you have what I call a sniper ad, right? So once you've warmed people up and you got them to the point where they've seen you enough times, you then send them to an ad that gets them to take interest. So here is curiosity, right? There's curiosity, and here is interest. When you get them to a point of interest, right, that's when they're getting more into what you're doing. Then you take them to a trust video. The trust video is that next level. This is where you're building trust. So you've got the curiosity happening, you've got the interest happening, you're now building trust the right way, and you're getting people coming down the journey to work with you. Then we have what we call a sticky calendar, where people have watched your video and they've spent time with you and they can see that you're the go-to and they feel comfortable, you've built their trust up, and you want to take them to the next stage. You're going to get them on your calendar, right? And your calendar is a valuable asset, and you don't want people to waste your time. You don't want to have, you don't want to have an empty calendar, but when people are booking, you don't want to have no shows. And so having a calendar that has people showing up is super important. So we have built a sticky calendar system to get people showing up to those bookings. This is super important. A sticky calendar means you've got to be really aggressive in the way that you're approaching people to show up on those discussions, those conversations. People are busy, they have lives, sometimes they have some kind of blockages mentally, they might not want to show up, but if you just persist with them, you can get those people showing up. And so we have a system for that. It's pretty persistent, and some might say aggressive, but it works really well to have people showing up in your calendar. Then you need a closer script. We call it a score closing script because it's non-salesy. And at this point, by the time they've got you, they have so much information about who you are, they're much easier to do business with, right? And you can close on these deals really quickly. And it's a simple series of questions that you ask to engage them, to see where they are. Once you know they're a good fit, you can do a one call close straight off this script. Then finally, you have to have this once you've got them closed, right? Because this journey, when you've created super value all the way down this track, selling on high ticket becomes a breeze, because now these people are so warmed up, they see the action that you've got going on, that they want to work with you. And so the desire that you have created here is super, super high, and they just want to do business with you. But now, there's the thing, you have to deliver. You have to deliver to the people in a way that it's easy for them to learn and get, right? Your systems that you're providing, that you're showing them how to do, needs to be easy, right? You need a way to deliver, right? And so we created what we call the Love Boost. The Love Boost is a way to deliver that high ticket program so that people are super, super happy, and you get that advocacy happening where they just want to talk about you and rave about you and tell the world how awesome you are. And this is a very powerful context. So when you get all of these things right, boom, you got an amazing high ticket coaching program. And this is how we've set up our business. And I think that if you want to learn more about how to do this, we have a whole system set up that you can plug into, and it works really, really well. And there's no thinking. It's just a process. You're kind of clicking buttons to put it all together. If you're interested in finding out more about that, click on one of the links below and we'll be happy to help you. If not, I'm glad to be sharing all this free information with you to help you on your journey to building your high-ticket coaching program, right? Now, if you haven't yet done so, please subscribe to this channel, We look forward to helping you further, and we're going to be providing as much value, free content as we can to show you how to build and create your own coaching program. My name is Matthew. I'm the founder of Coach Launch. It's been a pleasure. See you on the next one.